Will President Biden run for re-election in 2024? Welcome back, The Passionate Take. Did you miss me? Today we're going to talk about the Democratic field that's going to run for president in 2024. Especially, what do we know about current President Joe Biden? Will he run for re-election? I will answer this question. Also, other candidates that have already thrown their name into the ring that they are going to run for president to be the Democratic nominee in 2024. And also a wild card that nobody's talking about. Before I go into the show today, thank you for those of you that have already subscribed to my channel. If you haven't subscribed to Passionate Take, I just want to let you know when you tune in my show, I will give you 100% truth, unbiased. Everything I say on my show is unscripted. The many things, the knowledge that I know about politics, I will share those things with you and give you the best information so that on election day, when you go to the polling location, you know which candidate you're going to support. And like I said, the presidential race is going to be a race that is, we're going to get more hot news. We're going to discuss it. I will talk about each of these candidates with you, both on the Republican and the Democratic side. But like I said, if you haven't subscribed to Passionate Take, please take a second to hit the subscribe button to support my channel. Also, hit the bell notification so every time that I upload new content, you are notified. The question right now that many Americans face, and they are asking themselves whether they are at work, whether they are hanging out at the park with their wife, their kids, and their friends. Will President Biden run for re-election in 2024? Now, the reason why we ask this question, we wouldn't ask it before, right? Usually, an incumbent president would seek re-election. But the reason why it's pertinent in Joe Biden's case is because he's 80 years old. Recently, he told Today's Show, Al Roker, he was going to run for president. He said he has plans to run for president in 2024. This is the reason a lot of people are saying, why is President Biden saying these things, right? We know that Dr. Joe Biden has said Joe Biden is definitely going to run for president in 2024. Now, you know the many issues that the country is facing right now with high inflation. Everything that's going on in our country right now. A lot of things that we are looking at and we are wondering, why are these things happening? They are happening under President Biden's watch. He has to be held accountable for these situations. How about the abysmal withdrawal from Afghanistan? I agree with those people that we can't stay in Afghanistan forever. But if you're going to withdraw from Afghanistan, you have to leave a certain number of troops back. Or if you do a complete withdrawal from Afghanistan, you have to think about what is the best way for our country to make sure that those people that supported the United States, supported them in their efforts to make sure that the Taliban does not take over once the United States no longer have military presence in that foreign country. That did not happen. Both Republican and Democratic are upset about this. This is not a partisan issue. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill are so upset with the way we withdrew from Afghanistan that we have left certain people who work for the United States and the efforts now are trapped behind enemy lines. Just think about that for a second. Who is the man that's occupying the White House? That is President Biden. So the question Also, in the United States, we have all these issues we are dealing with. We are coming out of COVID. We are dealing with high inflation. The border, the southern border. Have you seen Alejandro Mayorkas, who's dealing with the border? And when he was in front of the talking and answering question for all these senators, he did not have a question. He could not answer that our borders are under attack. That is a huge problem right now, and a lot of the American people do not have faith in Joe Biden to get the border under control. Let me just give you a reminder. When President Biden took over and he was going to become the next president of the United States, they were still continuing to build the wall along the southern border. He put a stop to that. As a result, people were crossing the border at an alarming rate, a rate that we have never seen before. Now, every president, whether they are Republican or Democrat, it does not really matter. There are people that are going to migrate to the United States. But the number jumped astronomically of illegal immigrants coming into the United States when President Biden is occupying the White House. Let me just remind you of a few things. There were reporters that asked these people, why are you crossing so much? Why is there so many people crossing the border right now? He said, because Biden is for us. He's not going to stop us. That was the response of these people that were crossing illegally. Biden is in the White House, not Trump. And then you have the conflict in Ukraine with Russia. Everything that's going on, that situation right now there's no end in sight right now. Both of these countries are fighting, and we know Vladimir Putin, he understands that the United States and Germany and France and Great Britain is back in Ukraine, but he doesn't matter. He's playing the long game. Because if it was the case that he was going to say, there's no way I'm going to win this war, then he should just throw in the towel. But we know Vladimir Putin, if he's anything, he is not going to quit. He is not going to stop. And he hasn't stopped. But let me tell you what. The United States, anytime, if you bring China into the conversation and they say they can come up with a resolution to end this war, that should sound alarm bells for all the American people, especially our leaders. Do not trust anything that President Xi and his men and his cabinet officials say that they have a resolution to resolve the conflict in Ukraine. It would not benefit the United States. Okay? Also, I mentioned that I want to mention other candidates as well. You know that right now, officially, we only have two candidates that are saying they're going to run for president on the Democratic side. And Joe Biden is not one of them. You have Marianne Williamson. She's a writer. She's thrown her name into the ring. And also, you have a legacy. And the reason I bring up the word legacy is because the other candidate is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So that name sound familiar? Yes, because his uncle was the 35th president of the United States, John F. Kennedy. His father was Robert F. Kennedy, the Attorney General of the United States, also a senator, an individual who also ran for president. So that's a Kennedy legacy. I saw a comment on my channel that it was an individual that mentioned, we want Kennedy. We need a Kennedy back in the White House. Let me just say something about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has not held any elected official position. Okay? While his family is very well known in politics, when you bring up the word Kennedy, there is no other word that goes next to it other than they have a rich history in politics. Okay? With his father, with his well-known uncle JFK. But Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and he would agree with this, that the party that his father and especially his uncle, his uncle was occupying the White House. If you have time, watch John F. Kennedy inauguration speech. What is the one line that sticks out to you? Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Does that sound like a Democratic Party that we think of today? With Joe Biden? Does that sound like it? No, it does not. He is looking to appeal to moderate voters. We don't know a lot of where he stands on this issue. He had mentioned some things about certain things in the economy, about the elderly population, about legal immigration. But like I said, since he has not held any elected official position, we don't really know his stance. But one of the things that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is totally against, he is an anti-vaxxer. Several times he has mentioned that he says bring up these arguments where the science does not back up that if you get the vaccine that you are immune or you won't get COVID. So he's an anti-vaxxer. And you know this professional athlete that came out recently in support of Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? You wouldn't be shocked by this name if you watch the NFL. If I gave you 3 guesses, you probably could guess who he is. Aaron Rodgers. Still quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, will play for the Jets at some point, but he is coming out in support of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So like I said, those are the 2 only official names that have say they are going to run for president on the Democratic side. Okay? One person is a writer, the other individual family is rich in politics. Okay, he has name recognition, and sometimes on ballot, when you go to your polling location on voting day, you come up and you ask people, why do you pick a certain person? Well, because I think I've seen this name before, either his father, his grandfather, his uncle. That name sounds familiar. Well, Robert F. Kennedy has that. He has name recognition. But like I said, he's dealing with President Biden, who hasn't officially announced yet, but he told Al Roker he's planning on running. And one other thing I want to mention with you, while we still waiting on see which other candidates are going to throw their name into the ring, because on the Democratic side, we have an incumbent president, right? So that's why not a lot of people are throwing their name into the ring. But we have to remember and have to keep reminding you of this. President Biden is the oldest president to seek re-election. He is 80 years old. One wild card I want to throw out at you, that he keep denying that I'm not running for 2024 on the Democratic side. I will not seek to be the Democratic nominee in 2024. He keep reiterating this, saying over and over and over again, he is not going to be the Democratic nominee. But I think that is just doing it for the media, because I think behind the scene, he and his team, also his family, is seriously considering this. That is California Governor Gavin Newsom. You know that Gavin Newsom is popular in his state. And I mentioned, you watch one of my clips, you know that I say people are leaving California in droves. However, when he won the recall election, over 70% of the people that voted voted for Gavin Newsom. So he has his support in California. But Gavin Newsom, the reason why I bring up his name is because he's doing a lot of things in his state that across America they wouldn't agree with. But people of California agree with him. And Gavin Newsom is also this. While he need to worry about problem in his home state, crime is going way up. It's way out of control in his state. They are paying so much higher in income taxes. Illegals are pouring into his states like it has never been before. Okay? So people are tired of the policy that Gavin Newsom is trying to implement in his state. This is the same individual. Remember during COVID? Gavin Newsom locked down every business that was in town. Nobody was allowed to be open. And you must social distance. Remember that? You remember that? And there was a picture out with Gavin Newsom in a restaurant where he was not socially distanced, and there was at least 10 to 12 people there. He was not socially distancing himself and his family among other people. Also, his businesses, his kids went to school, everything was fine. His vineyard, it was open. Everybody else has to be shut down. Gavin Newsom will say this to you. I have rules. These rules, rule for thee, not for me. Right? So that I can keep you on the right track. And Gavin Newsom, in recent weeks, he has gone out of his way, an individual that hasn't declared to run for the presidency, he has gone out of his way to attack the governor in the South, Florida, Ron DeSantis. He ran an ad recently that says Florida, our freedom is under attack, specifically pointing to the state of Florida and what Ron DeSantis is doing. So you see, he is doing all of these things. He said, if you want freedom, come to the state of California. You will not get that in Florida. They are restricting you in every way possible, including healthcare, including education, including everything. They want to restrict you. Where freedom lives is California. So why would Gavin Newsom do these things? He faced a recall election. They elected him back in office. Now he's going out his way. It's one thing for him if he was going to attack somebody, right? If he was to attack Donald Trump, for example. But he didn't attack Donald Trump, who officially said he's going to run for president. He's going out of his way and attacking a governor that has not officially announced he's going to run for president. I will not mention on this show whether I think DeSantis will run. I will mention that in another show. But think about that for a second. Why is he doing this? He's saying out to the media he's not running for president. He's not running. He's not seeking to be the Democratic nominee in 2024 for president. But yet, he finds time enough to go after Ron DeSantis and the state of Florida. He has so much issue he can deal with in the state of California, yet he doesn't do that. He worried about what Ron DeSantis is doing in the South. Like I mentioned to you, I hope you enjoyed my shows so far. This race on the Democratic side, you know it's just going to get heated up even more. When these guys, when all the candidates have a line and put their name on the Democratic side to see who will run for president in 2024. Keep an eye out for Gavin Newsom. But back to Joe Biden. Joe Biden, and the reason, I think I know, and I'm going to give you a hint. Breaking news. This is breaking news, by the way. Joe Biden's slogan in 24, like Donald Trump's slogan, make America great again. That really, American people bond that, right? The MAGA. Make America great again. Joe Biden's slogan for 2024 will be, what flavor is your ice cream? You know why I brought that up? Remember when Joe Biden came down to address the media after the Nashville shooting? What did he say? I heard you guys got chocolate chips down here. I came down here for the ice cream. You think I'm joking? I got a fridge upstairs full of chocolate chip ice cream. So that is his slogan. The American people, I'm talking to you right now. This is Joe Biden, right? What flavor is your ice cream? So we're going to get much more into this with all these candidates. Like I said, I'm sure Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will attack and he will run ads against President Biden. Okay. Also, we will see what Gavin Newsom does. But like I said, we are in April. This race over on the Democratic side is going to get heated up much more. A lot of people that we may not talk about right now may enter the race. But the reason is because Joe Biden right now, he has a low approval rating and he knows it. And one of the things I want to mention this to you, he is so worried right now. And the reason he hasn't declared is because this is what they are thinking. They are going to bring in left-wing influencer. Yes, I said it, influencer. Young kids that have a big social media impact because he is losing the young votes. My goodness, Joe Biden is so desperate, he's going to bring in this influencer that have no idea how a government should be ran, and he's going to give them a platform in the press room to hopefully get the young voters to his side. We will cover that more in another episode. But like I said, thank you for staying up to this part of the show. I hope you enjoy this show. Also, like I said, when you come to my show, you come watch Passionate Take, I will always give you 100% true, unbiased, unscripted, passionate take on these issues that face the United States. And who is the best leader to lead us forward, to lead us to wealth and prosperity and safety. Make sure you tell your family, your friends, your loved ones, your acquaintances, people that you see at the store, people that you see at church. Watch Passionate Take. I will definitely cover politics, especially as we are getting ever so close to the presidential election. If you haven't subscribed to Passionate Take, take a second and support my channel. Hit the subscribe button. Also, hit the bell notification so every time I upload new content, you are notified. And give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time.